At my uncle's funeral, my little sister addressed the mourners, her voice trembling for all to hear. Mom was having an affair with Uncle Jack, she cried, burying her face in her hand. My sister, Macy, isn't Dad's real daughter. I tried to keep it a secret forever, but Mom, it's gone too far. I can't keep lying for you. I'm Maisie. And it's true. I've always been the spitting image of my uncle. My mother, her face a mask of agony, tried to deny everything. But with Uncle Jack dead, and with the uncanny resemblance, there was no way to prove it. Her desperate attempts of explanation fell on deaf ears. My father, humiliated in front of everyone, was ready to throw us out immediately. I quietly took out my phone and started a live stream. The truth is always so much more brutal and so much more entertaining than a lie. My mom stared at my sister, Leah, her eyes wide with disbelief. Leah, why would you make that up? I would never do that, she whispered, her voice cracking. I'm your mother. How could you do this to me? After all I did for you. If I'm being honest, of the three of us kids, Mom always loved Leah the most. She was the golden child who could do no wrong, always the princess of the household, so the betrayal hit deep. It was a constant refrain in our house. She's the youngest. You're the big brother and sister. Have to let her have her way. With all this favoritism, she grew up rotten to the core. Now, she cowered behind our father, tears streaming down her face. Mom, I know you love me, and I love you too. But, she started stuttering, you and Uncle Jack shouldn't have done that to Dad, and then you had Maisie. She glanced at Dad pitifully. Daddy loves me so much. I just couldn't lie for you anymore. Every time Uncle Jack came, I saw you two sneaking behind Dad back. I was too scared to say anything until now. My aunt, Uncle Jack's widow, lunged at my mother, screaming, held back by a crowd of relatives. My father's hand cracked across my mother's face. You whore, he snarled, his face contorted with rage.
How could you do this to me?
You're no better than an animal. His face became red from embarrassment and anger. I rushed to shield my mom, and he kicked me so hard I crumpled to the floor. He pointed a shaking finger at my face. You bastard. You are no daughter of mine. Every eye in the room was on me. My uncle's funeral portrait was right behind my head. We looked like we were cast from the same mold. So, no matter how vehemently my mother swore her innocence, no one believed her. Especially when the one accusing her was the daughter she had cherished for 20 years. Everyone believed Leah. Her act was flawless. I wasted my life raising you, my mother cried, pointing a trembling finger at Leah. I wasted all my love on you. I gave you everything you dreamed of. I even lost my son because of you, and this is how you repay me. By spreading lies about your mother. She collapsed onto the floor, shaking uncontrollably. Tears streamed down her face. The betrayal of her favorite child was like a million daggers stab her. 10 years ago, Leah fell into the river. Unable to swim, she started calling for help, struggling to stay afloat. My older brother Leo jumped in to save her. Mom jumped in too. But Leo couldn't swim. Soon, both he and Leah were on the verge of drowning, both pleading Mom to be pulled out of the water. As Mom hesitated, unsure who to save first, she looked at both of them. Leo, ever the little hero, or her golden child, he sputtered. Mom, save Leah first. I'm a big boy, I can hold on. Mom listened to him. She chose to save Leah. But by the time she dragged Leah to the shore, Leo was gone, swallowed by the river. His body surfaced 2 days later. The guilt nearly destroyed my mother. She suffered from insomnia ever since. She was on antidepressants and sleeping pills for 8 years, only stopping in the last 2. After that, with just the 2 of us girls left, a heavy cloud settled over our house. My father, busy with work, cried her eyes out for a week after Leo died, and then he threw himself back into his career. I never saw that grief in his eyes again. He even tried to comfort my mom. It was an accident. Nobody wanted it to happen, yet it did, and the living have to go on living. We still have 2 daughters. You can't let this destroy your health. My mom was a small business owner. She ran a chain of 10 successful bakeries. After Leo's death, she shut them all down. On the surface, she seemed to recover, but I knew she was still trapped on that riverbank. Her pillow was always dry at night and soaked by morning. For the last 10 years, we've bought pillowcases by the dozen. But even in her deepest pain, she never once blamed Leah. A few days ago, she bought a $9.99 T-shirt, $14.52 black pants, and $17 sneakers online. I'd asked her, why the sudden change in style? Buying such cheap clothes? She just smiled sweetly. Oh, I'm doing some volunteer work in a few days, sis. I don't want to look too flash. Normally, nothing she wore cost less than $500. Our family was well off. My dad believed in raising his daughters to have the best, so he gave us each a $5,000 monthly clothing allowance. I usually saved most of mine, but Leah blew through hers every single month. Last year, she transferred $60,000 from my account without my permission, all to buy clothes and shoes. That's when I discovered that my dad was actually giving Leah $10,000 a month, while I only got $5,000. And that's when I finally realized, with a sickening lurch, that my father treated us differently. 2. My mom was devastated, unable to defend herself. The solution was simple. A DNA test would clear everything up instantly. I suggested it. But my father was resolute. You're the spitting image of your uncle. We don't need a test. Your face is all the proof I need. Leah continued her tearful performance. My aunt can't have children. Uncle Jack wanted a child of his own, to continue his legacy, so he targeted Mom. He couldn't bear to not having an heir. And because it was true that my uncle was childless, almost everyone believed her story. She has thought of everything, every detail was calculated. Under a barrage of dagger-like stares, I asked my father, "Are you sure you want to throw this family away?" Dad's eyes were practically bulging out of his head with rage. If people hadn't been holding him back, he would have beaten me to a pulp. Maisie is not my child. From now on, she has nothing to do with me. The house, the cars, the company, I built all of that myself. You two can get the hell out with nothing but the clothes on your backs. His decision was final. No amount of talking can change his mind. He already erased us from his existence. I tried one last time. Uncle Jack and Mom are siblings. Genetically, it's normal for nieces and nephews to resemble their uncles. You can't just listen to one side of the story and forget that Mom has been by your side through thick and thin. You know better than anyone how devoted she's been to you and this family. My mom once told me that when she and Dad were dating, my grandparents were dead set against it. He was an orphan. Marrying him meant no dowry, no big wedding, and no grandparents to help with the kids. I've seen pictures of my mom when she was young. She was a beautiful fool. She could have had any man she wanted. When I was little, we were poor. Dad worked odd jobs, while Mom woke up before dawn to make and sell bread and recycle bottles. With her hard work, they saved up their first bit of money, and she gave it all to him to start his business. She said he was a brilliant man who just needed a chance. All these years later, her judgment was both on the mark and way off.
She thought she was happy.
Her husband was still the same loving man, and they were financially secure. Just yesterday, my dad was washing her feet, calling her his darling wife. So this sudden, absolute betrayal from him left her more confused than anything. She just kept staring at him, her eyes blurring with tears that she stubbornly wiped away, again and again. Finally, her voice was a broken whisper. Cosby Heimer, I don't even know who you are anymore. My dad's eyes were red with fury and disgust. No, you're the one who's been fooling me for 20 years. You are the most vile, shameless woman I have ever known. There's nothing more to say. I never want to see you again. My grandparents rushed forward, pleading with my dad to calm down, to at least get through the funeral for my uncle's sake, to not make such an ugly scene. My dad had a great reputation. He was known as an honest, hard-working, doting husband. He was always good to my grandparents. Everyone always said my mom had hit the jackpot. Today was the first time he'd ever lost his temper and hit his wife and child in public. So when this bomb dropped, everyone instinctively sided with him. Fine, my dad said magnanimously. For the sake of the family we once were, I won't make a scene here. But the divorce is happening. He took Leah's hand and started to leave. I stopped him. Since we're airing our dirty laundry, we might as well get it all out. I looked him straight in the eye. You're the one choosing to disown me. So from this moment on, you're no longer my father. You've been waiting a long time for this day, haven't you? He glared at me, a look that said he wanted to kill me. I had already contacted a lawyer, hoping to handle this quietly, to minimize the damage.
But now?
Now I was ready to go to war with my own father. My grandma immediately grabbed my arm. Maisie, honey, don't be rash. This isn't the time or place. Please, no more fighting. She almost stumbled, leaning on me heavily, her voice a desperate whisper. Maisie, just apologize. You can't let this family fall apart. My grandpa chimed in. Your father's furious right now. You're the child. You can't be so stubborn. They both assumed that even if he wasn't my biological father, after 20 years of calling him dad, there had to be some bond between us. My dad's face was a cold, hard mask. I am not her father. From this moment on, all ties are severed. She was never mine to begin with. I'm done being the fool. I stared at his merciless face and said, word by word, you're right. You have been a fool for 20 years. And you have raised a child that isn't yours. But that child isn't me. My aunt rushed forward to cover my mouth. Silly girl, stop talking. Isn't this embarrassing enough? This isn't the right time. No matter what you're going through, you need to bury your uncle first. Even she believed my dad and Leah. Her voice was thin and unconvincing. She tried to pull me away, but I wrenched my arm free. Someone is going to be embarrassed today, but it's not going to be me or my mother. My aunt whispered urgently, stop being so stubborn. I know this is hard to accept, but you have to think about your mother. She's seriously ill. Her medical bills are going to be huge. You can't let her divorce your father. The relatives were split into two camps, one trying to calm my dad, the other trying to reason with me. But we're both cut from the same stubborn cloth. Neither of us would back down. This had to be settled here right now. Even my mom, heartbroken, tried to stop me. Maisie, let it go. It's no use. Your father won't believe us. From now on, it will just be the two of us. My mother is a kind soul. Even after Leah had stabbed her in the heart, she couldn't bear for me to expose Leah's true identity in front of everyone. But I'm not my mother. I believe in an eye for an eye. I ignored her and pointed directly at Leah. You're the bastard, I spat. You're the one who doesn't belong in this family. Did you really think I didn't? No. My father was stunned. He never imagined I could possibly know the truth about Leah. But he recovered quickly. Your mother knows about Leah, he said, his voice full of self-righteousness. Even if she's not my biological child, she's better than you. Your birth was a product of deceit and filth. Leah is a victim of circumstance. You are nothing like her. So, you don't have the right to compare your situations, he spat. He was right. I wasn't like her. She was the product of a love affair. I was the product of a conspiracy. My grandmother was frantic. What is going on? My dad, with an air of noble sacrifice, addressed the crowd. Leah, my wife, and I found her on the side of the road. We felt sorry for the poor child and took her in. We told everyone she was ours because we didn't want her to be treated differently by family and friends. My conscience is clear on this matter. Everyone looked at my mom, who was silent. They took her silence as confirmation. My grandmother stumbled over to my dad, grabbing his arm. Cosby, my dear boy, please calm down. All these years, I've loved you like my own son. Let's not even talk about whether this is true or not. You two have been married for so long. You've been a father to Maisie. Please don't say things you'll regret. My dad, ever the good guy, let his eyes redden. Mom, I can tolerate anything else. But this humiliation, I can't. She could have cheated with anyone. But with her own family, he broke off, too ashamed to finish. He wasn't the broke kid from years ago. He was a successful man with a reputation. Now that the secret was out, he wasn't about to swallow his pride. His sister, my aunt, tried to mediate. Cosby, you were able to accept Leah, who has no blood relation to you at all. Can you find it in your heart to forgive Maisie, too? Meanwhile, other relatives were swarming my mom. Louise Tantu, stop crying. Go apologize to Cosby. Your family, there's nothing you can't get through. Louise, you need to be honest with him. Beg for his forgiveness. Think about Maisie, if not yourself. You can't let this family fall apart. Exactly. How will Maisie face the world after this? Tantu, don't be stubborn. You're not well. Now is the time to be humble. Just then, the view count on my live stream shot past 10,000. The comments were a torrent of abuse and hate at my mother. Look at how her own family is siding with the husband. That tells you everything you need to know about his character. What a thankless woman. Back in the day, women like her would have been run out of town on a rail. That poor girl, Maisie. Having a mother like that is the worst kind of luck. My mother looked at my father and Leah. Her face was a mask of bitter disappointment. I have never done anything to betray you. The biggest regret of my life was picking Leah up off the street and bringing her into our home. Leah just kept her head down, crying. I know I shouldn't have done this. I just didn't want to see Dad get hurt anymore. He took care of me when no one else stepped up. I couldn't betray him. My father's patience snapped. Enough of this useless chatter. I'm having my assistant draft the divorce papers right now. A few minutes later, my dad's assistant arrived and, right there at the funeral, drew up a divorce agreement that would leave my mother with nothing. My grandmother panicked. She was about to kneel before my father. My dear boy, you can't be so heartless. Louise is seriously ill. If you divorce her now, you're signing her death warrant. I pulled my grandmother up. It's okay, Grandma. Mom will be fine. You don't have to beg him. I told her with a calm voice. My grandmother was beside herself. She ordered me. Maisie, you listen to me. Get on your knees and beg your father. You can't let this family break apart. You will have truly nothing if you let him leave. I didn't kneel. I looked at him, my voice calm and cold.
Fine. Get a divorce.
But the one leaving with nothing will be you. Smack. My father slapped me hard across the face, his eyes blazing. You little bastard. This is none of your business. My face stung, but I took the hit. After all, he was my father. I bit back the pain and yelled back, facing him eye to eye. How is it none of my business? You accuse my mother of infidelity, you call me a bastard, and I'm not allowed to defend myself? I'm done trying to prove I'm the daughter of a man like you. But there are some things my mother needs to know. And everyone here needs to know. Maisie, just shut up. Leah commanded, feigning concern. Dad is already furious. Don't make it worse. If you truly care, you would let go and let him live his life. Doesn't he seem hurt enough? Or you want him to suffer more? I ignored her and turned to my father. You have type A blood, correct? He was taken aback. What does that have to do with anything? I don't have time for your nonsense. You're type A. Your sister, Victoria, is type O. And Leah's blood type is B.
Did you know that?
It was like a lightning bolt had struck him. The entire room fell silent. My mother was stunned. She grabbed my arm. Maisie, why are you bringing this up? What does your aunt have to do with any of this? Maisie, I know you're having a hard time accepting this, but there's no need to drag me into your family drama. The speaker was my aunt, Victoria, who had been silently watching the show until now. She was 3 years younger than my parents, but looked at least 10 years younger than my mom. She wore exquisite makeup and a jade necklace that was easily worth $100,000. Leah chimed in. Exactly. Sis, you're like a mad dog, just biting at everyone.
What are you even talking about?
Dad said I was adopted, so, of course my blood type is different. What are you trying to stir up now? I locked eyes with Victoria. Leah is your daughter. So, yes, it has everything to do with you. My mom was reeling. Impossible, impossible, she muttered. She's your father's cousin. She's never been married. A flicker of panic crossed Victoria's face, but she quickly masked it. Maisie, I think you've lost your mind. How could Leah possibly be my daughter? Your mother found her on the side of the road. My father, recovering from the shock, blustered. Don't talk nonsense. I won't believe you. He turned back to my mom. Sign the papers. My mother looked at me, her eyes blank. I patted her hand. Don't sign yet. Trust me. I'll get us justice. I took out my phone and called my boyfriend. Ethan, can you bring me my laptop and that file? My mom was shocked. When did you get a boyfriend? I shushed her before she could say more. I was just focused on getting justice. We'll talk about that later. My dad kept pressuring my mom to sign. But when my boyfriend, Ethan, arrived with my things, both my dad and Leah froze. When did you two get together? Leah demanded, her voice full of disbelief. Why didn't I know? She had a massive crush on Ethan, had been chasing him for ages. She had no idea we'd been together for 3 years, keeping it quiet because of college applications. I looked at her with a smirk. You really are clueless. You didn't learn a single thing from your mother about how to steal a man. I opened the laptop, plugged in a USB drive, and a video popped up. A man and a woman, locked in a passionate embrace. The man was my father. The woman was my aunt. They both panicked. My dad lunged for the laptop, but my 6 feet 3 inches boyfriend blocked his path. My mom, her face a storm of disbelief, slapped Laura hard. And I treated you so well. You two are the real bastards. Laura, utterly humiliated, still tried to lie. We were drunk that day. We just kissed. Nothing else happened. Maisie, that's enough. If you had a shred of decency, You wouldn't do this to your own father. My dad was livid. Turn it off.
Do you hear me?
That's a deep fake. That's illegal.
Don't make me call the cops. On you.
I just smiled. You don't have to. I'll do it myself. And right in front of him, I dialed 911. Hello, 911? I'd like to report my father for his involvement in 2 murders. The moment the words left my mouth, my mother crumpled to the floor. My father stared at me, his face a picture of disbelief. My own gaze was unwavering. My grandfather rushed over. Maisie, what are you saying? You can't just throw words like that around. I met the shocked eyes of everyone in the room. I am not throwing words around. Everything I am saying is the truth, and I will take full legal responsibility for every single word. Lial lunged at me, ready to slap me. You've gone too far. How could you do this to Dad? You're spewing nothing but bullshit. Dad wasted his time raising an ungrateful snake like you. Her hand never reached my face. I was faster. I slapped her first. _edit end _ Mandy, you're the bastard. You, your mother, and my father cooked up this whole scheme, and today, I'm broadcasting it to the world. The comments on the live stream exploded, the tide turning in my favor. Holy shit, the plot twist. The sister wasn't adopted after all. Oh my god, he was the one cheating and he pinned it on his wife. Scumbag of the century. This is a bigger mess than a tangled ball of yarn. I pulled 2 DNA reports from my bag and handed them to my father.
Here.
Let's see who the real bastard is. One was between Mandy and him. The other was between me and him. Mine confirmed our father-daughter relationship. Mandy's confirmed that no such relationship existed. The color drained from my father's face. He looked like he'd been poleaxed. I was satisfied. I raised my voice for all to hear. Mandy wasn't adopted. She is the daughter of our so-called aunt, who has been my father's mistress for years. He always believed Mandy was his biological child. The real fool here is my mother, who unknowingly raised another woman's child for 20 years. And she's not my aunt. Her real name is Laura Jensen. She's my father's mistress. To carry on their affair, they invented this fake family relationship. When Laura didn't want to raise her own child, they cooked up this scheme to have my mother find her by the side of the road. A pair of sanctimonious, cheating dogs, plotting against a faithful wife. I held up a copy of my own DNA report. This is my proof. My mother never, ever betrayed him. The reports were passed around the room. The mood shifted instantly. Cosby-Heimer, you're not a man, you're a monster. How could you pull a stunt like this? You never know what's behind a person's face. And you wanted to kick her out with nothing? In your dreams. She yelled, her vein popping. A few of the men started to rush my father, but I stopped them. Don't bother. He's not going to have a good life for much longer. The whispers started. My father was still reeling from the fact that Lial wasn't his. The daughter he risked everything for. He flew into a rage and grabbed Laura by the throat. You bitch. You played me. Whose kid is she? Laura, of course, denied it. Cosby dear, it's fake. Don't believe her. She's just trying to tear us apart. You can't believe her, our love must be strong. My dad finally let go of Laura before she passed out. He turned to me, his face black with rage. I raised a real viper. After what you've done today, even if you are my daughter, I disown you. I looked at him calmly. I wasn't planning on keeping you as a father anyway. He stormed off, but I saw the panic in his eyes. He was trying to escape before the police arrived. My boyfriend and a few relatives surrounded my father, blocking his exit.
Cornered, my dad panicked. Fine.
We split the assets 50-50. Is that what you want? A divorce? My mother finally came to her senses. She marched up to my dad and slapped him twice hard. Cosby-Heimer, you lied to me for so long. You cheated on me for 20 years, and to get a divorce, you dragged your own daughter's name through the mud? Are you even human? Was this your plan all along? My dad fell silent, like a lion that had lost all its fight. He knew what he did. The relatives continued to tear into him. A minute ago, you wanted to kick her out with nothing. Now, even if you leave with nothing, it won't be enough to atone for your sins. 50-50 isn't a not, you bastard. In the distance, we heard the wail of sirens. My dad's demeanor suddenly changed. He looked at me, his voice soft. Louise, this was my fault. I'll leave with nothing. All the money, it's yours and your mom's. Just let me go. Please, just let this go. My aunt, Uncle Jack's widow rushed forward and grabbed my dad, shaking him. Did you kill my husband? My grandmother looked straight at me. Maisie, do you know something? Did your father kill your uncle? My grandfather's eyes were fixed on me, desperate. I gave them a firm, unwavering answer. Yes. My dad exploded. I raised a goddamn animal. What proof do you have that I killed your uncle? He died in a car accident. It was an accident. He was right. Uncle Jack had died in a car crash. That's what the police report said. I didn't argue. I just watched him, a cornered, frantic animal.
The police arrived.
Who called this in? I did. The officer sized me up. Do you have any evidence? Why are you accusing your father? Laura immediately jumped to his defense. She's just angry with her father. It's a misunderstanding. Just a family squabble. My dad tried to play it cool. I'm divorcing her mother. She's upset and called you guys. I'm sorry to have wasted your time. Is that so? The officer asked, looking at me doubtfully. I calmly took a small recording pen from my bag and pressed play. The first voice was my father's. Just cut the brake line. It has to look clean. No traces. Then came Laura's voice, worried. What if they find out? My father's voice, full of confidence. They won't. I learned this trick from a professional. Besides, Jack's car is almost 10 years old. It's falling apart anyway. It'll be impossible to trace. My dad stared at me in horror. He couldn't understand how I could possibly have this recording. He thought his plan was flawless. Where did you get this recording? The officer asked. Laura became hysterical. It's fake. It has to be a deep fake. The technology is so advanced these days. I answered truthfully. I secretly planted recording devices and tracking equipment in his suits, his briefcase, even his phone. My dad looked as if his world had collapsed. He just stared at me, speechless. The officer asked, why are you only reporting this now? And what was the other murder case you mentioned? I paused. When I first discovered all this, I couldn't believe it either. My dad had always doted on my mom, treated her like a treasure. I held on to a sliver of hope that he had made a mistake and was now trying to be a good person again. It wasn't until he killed my uncle that I knew a monster could never change its stripes. I had decided then to convince him to turn himself in after the funeral, to try for a lighter sentence. I'd even hired a top lawyer but I never imagined he would conspire with Mandy to slander my mother, to claim I wasn't even his daughter. That was the last straw. That's when I decided I would burn it all to the ground. I took a deep breath. At first, I didn't have enough evidence. I wasn't sure. I was going to wait until after the funeral to convince him to confess. The officer nodded for me to continue. The other murder was my father killing his first wife. As I said the words, both my parents collapsed to the floor. My father, from the weight of being exposed. My mother, from pure, unadulterated shock. I helped my mom up. She grabbed my hand, her eyes wide with terror. I was his first wife. He was single. When we got married, my grandmother confirmed it. That's right. When he asked for her hand, he said he'd never been married, that your mother was his first love. I pulled out a file from my bag containing my dad's first marriage certificate and even a photo of his first wife. I showed it to the police first. My father cheated on his first wife with my mother, but he lied and told my mom he was single. At the time, my mother and his first wife were pregnant at the same time. Perhaps he really did love my mom back then. He was afraid she would leave him if she found out he was married, so he kept it a secret. You're lying. It's all lies, my dad screamed, cutting me off. I looked at him. Do you want to know how I found out? He wouldn't meet my eyes. He knew he was guilty. I answered my own question. Before my brother died, I saw his medical report from a check-up. He was type AB. You and mom are both type A. Two type A parents can't have a type AB child. I was young, I didn't understand. It wasn't until middle school biology that I realized Leo wasn't my mother's biological son. I mentioned it to mom once, but she didn't believe me. She showed me his birth certificate. She was sure he was hers. I thought maybe there was a mix up at the hospital, but Leo looked so much like Dad. As I got older, I became more certain that my father was hiding something. It was around the same time I discovered his affair with Laura. I asked my boyfriend, Ethan, for help. He's a whiz with computers. He found my father's old address in his hometown. I went there. After asking around, I finally found a few old timers who remembered him. They told me he had been married before and had a son. But his wife died the day after the baby was born. They said she slipped and fell on her way to the bathroom in the middle of the night. After that, my father and the baby boy slipped and fell on her way to the bathroom in the middle of the night. After that, my father and the baby boy disappeared. Your brother wasn't mine? Then where is my baby? My first baby? She grabbed my father's collar, shrieking. Where is my child? What did you do with my child? My dad shoved her away and glared at me. You have a writer's imagination. You're just making up stories. This happened 20 years ago. He was sure the police would never be able to prove it. I know you won't admit it, I said calmly. It's been too long. My brother is dead. His mother is dead. My uncle is dead. Compared to them, I suppose you were merciful to me and my mother.
You didn't kill us outright.
He looked at me, his expression a complex mess of emotions. I'm your father. Why are you trying to destroy me? I pulled another file from my bag and held it out to him. He wouldn't take it. This is a complete file of everything I've found, I told him. I had hired a lawyer for you to try and get you a reduced sentence. But it seems that's no longer necessary. I handed all my evidence to the police. The lead officer looked at me, impressed. What's your major? Education. He flipped through the file, looking at me with new respect. My mom was weeping, still demanding to know where her first child was. The officer turned to my dad. Your daughter has a very strong case here. You'd better start talking. If you don't, I can't guarantee you'll make it out of this alive. And I'm not bluffing. My dad's eyes were glazed over. After a long moment, he spoke, his voice hollow. Catherine's first child was a girl. I threw her in a dumpster. She probably froze to death. My mother fainted. I caught her, but she clutched her chest, gasping for air, pointing at my father. You're a monster, she wheezed. A monster. My dad looked at me, his voice devoid of all emotion. Are you satisfied now? You had to destroy me. Your mother is sick, she won't live much longer either. Soon, you'll have no father and no mother. Is that what you wanted? The last part was a roar, the veins in his forehead bulging. I asked him calmly, you didn't want to pay for mom's treatment. Is that why you had Mandy start these rumors? Then I answered my own question, a cold, bitter laugh escaping my lips. No, that's not it. You orchestrated this whole thing so you could be with Laura openly. Just like you killed your first wife, so you could be with my mother. My mom sobbed. No wonder you would never take me back to your hometown. You monster. You ruined my entire life. Laura and Leah were both stunned. They had no idea about the first wife either. I pulled out one last document from my bag and held it up for everyone to see. The person with terminal cancer isn't my mother. It's Leah. Leah stared at me, her face a mask of shock. That's impossible. You're lying. You're the one with cancer. Maisie, I hope you rot in hell. My mother, furious, snapped at her. At the hospital, you saw the report said cancer, and asked whose it was. I was afraid to scare you, so I lied. All these years, I really did raise a snake. You deserve whatever fate has in store for you. Leah froze. Laura snatched the report from my hand, her eyes scanning the page. She burst into hysterical tears. Malia will be fine. She'll be fine. At this point, the live stream had over 100 million concurrent viewers. The screen was a blur of comments.
This guy is terrifying.
Gets a mistress. Kills his wife. Doesn't even spare the child. He belongs in the deepest pit of hell. So, the bitch's sister has cancer. Serves her right. Karma's a bitch, ain't it? Maisie is a total badass. If it weren't for her, her mom would have been in the dark forever. With scum like that, you have to burn it all down. Later, the police took my father and Laura away. The verdict came down not long after. For premeditated murder, they were both sentenced to death. 2 months later, Leah. I heard she couldn't take the pain of her illness, and without her parents to help her, it driven her to jump off a tall building. 3 years later, Ethan and I got married. My mom finally moved on from the shadow my father had cast over her life and found a new partner. Sometimes I feel guilt creeping in, but Ethan was always with me, kissing my forehead, telling me what I did was brave. On warm days, we go grocery shopping and visit them. We all have dinner together under the setting sun, talking and laughing about everyday things. A simple, happy life with my husband.